younger, like many kids my age, I was deathly afraid of the dark. Nothing ever happened in it. It just felt so empty and bare, and I didn't know what was in it. So my mind made up stories to fill in the gaps for me. I'd heard of stories about monsters and creatures from my friends at school, and I imagined them hiding in the dark waiting for me. I imagined them hiding in the dark waiting for me. And it made perfect sense to my tiny brain at the time. Monsters were scary, so they must live in a scary place. And if I couldn't see them, that must mean that they lived in a place that was hard to see. I remember at night, before I sleep, I'd close the door of every single closet in my room, and whenever I'd get up, I'd check behind every single door to make sure that a monster wasn't waiting there to reach out and grab my ankle. Obviously, now I know that none of it is true, that was all make-believe. But I still find myself walking just a bit faster at night and still checking every single door. And sure, yeah, I am a bit embarrassed about it, but because I thought that instinct would disappear as I grew older. But now, I'm not too sure. So I'd like to ask you guys something. How many of you, because just of a dumb childhood fear, still find yourself walking a bit faster at night? Raise your hands. A lot of us, right? What if I told you that isn't dumb at all? That instinct is the story controlling your behavior even when you know it's not true. We all have habits that were shaped by myths. It's just human nature. And we learn these stories from our ancestors, our parents, our friends, our culture. I think most of us, we think of these stories as just sources of entertainment. And we think of myths as old and irrelevant and useless. But what if I told you that myths are just tools that we humans use, whether consciously or subconsciously, to make sense of the unknown? As humans, we have a tendency to fear the things that we don't understand. And when we don't know these things, we automatically make up stories to fill in the gaps for us. Children do it with things like monsters hiding in the dark, while adults do it with more complicated stories. Myths are nothing but just tools that we use as defense mechanisms that guide our behavior and shape the way we interact with the world around us. And even when we do learn the facts, we don't abandon the stories, we just adapt them. It's why stories often outlive facts. They're flexible, they allow change, while facts are rigid, precise, and force you into one way of thinking. And facts dictate what is real, but stories dictate how we respond to that truth. And all of this isn't just like philosophy, it's backed by science. For example, if I told you that millions of people were dying in a famine, you'd understand the scale of the problem, that it was something to worry about, to be fixed. But how many of you would actually take a step to act and donate? But if I told you about one specific person in that famine, let's say a child with a face, a name, and a story, you're more likely to act on that story, right? And this is because big numbers, they're overwhelming for us. It's really hard to picture. But when we reduce it into something small, like a story we can all understand and sympathize with, it becomes so much more manageable. And when these stories, they stick around, they don't just start to guide us anymore, they start to organize our entire reality. Let's take another simple example. Have you ever wondered where the names of the planets or, let's say, days of the week came from? No? Well, they actually came from ancient Norse and Roman gods we no longer believe in. And yet we still plan our entire lives using names that came from myths to explain a world that people didn't understand. And think about your everyday words and phrases. Let's take the phrase bless you, for example. Someone sneezes, you say it to be nice, right? But what if I told you the phrase bless you came from times of plague when people thought that a sneeze would expel the soul out of the body? We don't believe that anymore, do we? And how many times have we all said that phrase? And the same thing happens on a much, much larger scale, like in consumerism. Most of us, I think, will find we're unsure about what makes us feel successful, right? And then this fear produces stories that happiness can be bought, or buying a certain product gives you confidence. But are these really true? Even knowing it's a marketing tactic, people still buy these products. A designer bag or a fancy watch, for example, tells everyone that you've made it in life. And in politics, we're unsure who to vote for or who should lead us. Then this produces myths. Myths about the perfect leader or the chosen one pop up. And narratives of us versus them simplifies everything, tells us who to vote for. I remember myself, a few years ago, I saw these pair of shoes that were being advertised. And the advertisement said something like, gain confidence, buy these. And I knew it was just a dumb marketing tactic, like designed to take my money, but I still felt myself falling for it. I thought, maybe, what if I buy these and I suddenly gain a ton of confidence? And I ended up buying those pair of shoes. And I think that's a story that we all relate to, right? Myths really are what controls us. So the next time you walk in a dark corridor, I want you to take a second and pause. Remember that the fear that you feel is just a story that you made up in your head. And the next time that you feel afraid, convinced, or scared, just pause and ask yourself, is this a fact or is it a story that I inherited? Because once a story is repeated enough amount of times, it becomes the system that decides how we live.